Hey there everyone, this is Glenn. I'm back with another portrait, and this time you'll see that I totally missed the beginning of it. That's because I bought a new camera. This was like a while ago, but it was just specifically for YouTube videos. However, the camera is absolutely horrible. It died 2 times, just sort of shut off. Those files ended up being corrupted and I couldn't use any of them. This was the middle one, so sort of like missed the beginning and then an important mid stage of this painting. But anyway, I wanted to get this up to continue talking about just painting and help with whatever I can. So continuing with this portrait, um, it's another self-portrait. I really like doing self-portraits. I like just having a model that is always there, and if I paint them poorly, they're not going to be offended. Like, I don't really care how I paint myself. Um, so one of the other things that I really like about this series of paintings that I'm doing right now is I'm using a limited palette. Um, Originally, when I first learned painting, my teachers were very much against using the color black. And because when you're first learning, if you mix white and black, you're going to gray out your paintings. So you have to be really conscious when you are using those two colors on the same palette. But this limited palette that I'm using right now is ivory black, titanium white, vermilion hue, and yellow ochre. And what that does is, one, makes sure that I'm really conscious of how I'm using my paintbrushes. So throughout this painting, you'll see me switching between a lot of different brushes. And I find that to be really important to make sure that, one, you're not dulling out your painting, and two, you're not cross-mixing between color areas, and it helps to keep like vibrancy in those areas. I basically said the same thing twice. Sorry about that. But anyway, so here, as I'm painting, it's about to come to the switch, and this is what I really want to talk about now. So as you can see, first off, significantly better quality. This is just my phone, but also when you look down at the tape, you'll start to see that I've painted onto the tape, up and around, to flesh out the full face shape. The reason why I was doing this is because as I'm painting, the issue that I was finding myself with a lot of the time was I was not able to get the angles and the full dimensions of the face correct. And I found that that was because I didn't have the full depth going down and the full width going across. So it really made that angle and measurement capture significantly harder. So when you have that option, I highly recommend doing it. Even if it is just like taping a little piece of paper to the bottom of your canvas and giving yourself that little bit of extra length or width, depending upon what you need. um, so, along with doing that to help make this look a little bit better, as opposed to my last painting, I added a background color. And when you add a background tone, basically just toning your canvas, it does a few things. One, if you have a toned palette, like my palette is brown, and I use that because, one, I'm basically, I mean, I use it 90% for portraits. So 90% of the skin tones are going to mesh a little bit better on that brown palette. And also, when I tone my canvases, I'm also toning them to match the fact that I'm making a portrait. So I'm not like toning the canvas yellow. I'm not toning the canvas with this really off color. It's mostly browns and different colors of like earth tones. And that just helps to bring up that flesh tone in the face from the very beginning. So with that, it helps me match the colors a little bit better. Um, so as I talked about before with using different brushes, you can see in here where I'm just marking in a little bit of the areas on the outside, but the brush themselves change, and it's super important to gather the brushes that are appropriate for what you're trying to paint, but always using a brush that's like slightly bigger than you think you should have, because that perfects your hand. A brush can often paint a significantly smaller mark than you think it can, and utilizing that helps to make your painting a little bit more quote unquote painterly. Um, Adding in those brush marks is really important and separates paintings from photographs. We have really good photos now, so being able to paint with paint and make it look like that, I feel is something that's important. But that's a discussion for another day. Um, but when you're trying to get those brush marky areas, having a brush significantly or like specifically designated for a brighter yellow or a darker brown is important. So here it is, all finished. A sort of color band from like left to right: yellow, red, blue, warm to cool. But if you guys liked it, like it down below. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you have any questions, comment. I'm totally willing to answer any questions, and if you need more specifics on things, let me know and I can make another video about it. Thanks. See you guys later.